teams who can play fairly well, and the Cubs are going to have to elevate their game. And today, with Kevin Foster going to the mound, searching for his 11th win, he'll be opposed by Alan Bennis, who's one of the toughest customers around. You look at Kevin, his ERA up there. Bennis's ERA in the mid-2s, and this young man has a world of talent. The Cardinals are suffering from a tremendous amount of injuries, Harry. They miss Brian Jordan. He drove in 104 last year with 17 home runs. You see Donovan Osborne has missed 59 games. These guys are a crippled team.
Isn't that a shame? Every club runs through that. Hey, by the way, I missed you. How many days you been on vacation?
It seems like a bunch of them.
Hello again, everybody. Harry Carey and Steve Stone. Here is Tony La Russa's starting St. Louis lineup. Delino DeShields at second, Ron Gant in left, Langford in center, Dimitri Young at first, Gaetti in third, Mabry in right, DeFelice catching, Royce Clayton at shortstop, and Alan Bennis, who's won 7 and lost 7 and is a pretty good hitter for a pitcher, will be on the hill. The Chicago Cubs all-sport defensive lineup is Glanville in left, McRae in center, and Sosa in right. Ori, Dunston, Sandberg, and Grace around the infield. Foster shooting for victory, number 11, is on the hill. Service catching, and the umpires are Jeff Kellogg behind the plate, Larry Pacino at first, Harry Wendelstedt at second, and Rich Rieker at third. What a beautiful day, a jam-packed ballpark. And both these teams know they got to get going. The Cardinals are here trying to reverse after running into a 4-game sweep by the Pittsburgh Pirates. On the other hand, the Cubs have won 8 out of their last 10, and they're hoping to continue that record against the Cardinals.
And in an oddity of the schedule this year, starting out just like last year after the All-Star break, the Cardinals here for 4. Last year, the Cubs won the first game. The Cardinals took the next 3, and they went on to go 42 and 33 after the All-Star break, winning the Central Division Championship. They're hoping for the same situation. The Cubs are hoping to reverse that trend.
You know, Steve, this guy's a great friend of ours. He covered baseball for the Cubs for a couple of years. He was a foreign correspondent originally. He's written a book entitled, listen to this, Warsaw to Wrigley. That's the title of the book. And boy, if ever a title ought to be a bestseller, that's it. A foreign correspondent's tale of coming home from communism to the Cubs. Joseph A. Reeves. Joe Reeves, connected with the Tribune Company for many years, and we're thankful to Jill A. Langford of the Diamond Communications for sending us a copy of the book, which we look forward with much relish to reading.
Well, it is a beautiful day today, and it's a beautiful day for Kevin Foster to go to the mound and lead things off in the second part of the season. Foster at 2-2 with a 4.63 ERA lifetime in 4 games against the Cardinals. And really the key to contending with the Cardinals starts right at the top with Delino DeShields. If you can keep him off base, you don't have to worry about his 31 stolen bases. If he gets on with Ron Gant hitting in the second spot, they can cause you some difficulty. But the Cardinals haven't been hitting. They've just come off a 4-game sweep by the Pittsburgh Pirates in St. Louis, of all places. And they realize now, sitting in 3rd place, it's time for them, like the Cubs, to start to make things happen. So this should be a dandy of a series.
The honorary bad boy and bad girl, Michael Perilli, is the boy, and Victoria Caspar is the girl. Congratulations to both attractive youngsters. Well, we're ready to play baseball. Congratulations to Ginny West on her birthday. She's from Winnebago Park, Wisconsin. Good friend of Paul Sullivan, who writes sports for the Tribune. Ginny West. First pitch. Delino DeShields swing. High, popped fly, all to be caught. Sammy's there, 1 away. Well, now look at 3 days off for the All-Star break. Assuming he didn't play any during those 3 days. gets back in action today. The very first pitch, as the leadoff man, he pops out.
Well, the one thing about Delano DeShields, even though he's hitting .290 here, he has an on-base percentage of only .349, drawing only 28 walks in his 303 at-bats. So he's not going to take many pitches, as he showed Kevin Foster.
Here now is Ron Gant. First pitch in there. The Springfield police fathers, along with their sons and daughters, are here at the ballpark today from Springfield, Illinois. That's a third annual trip to the ballpark. Gant swings, follows him. There's Tony La Russa. Last year they won their division. Were eliminated by the Braves.
Gant has some problems with the high heat, and he's fanned 97 times. If Kevin throws one, could be 98.
Pitch a little bit outside. 1 ball, 2 strikes. The Japanese pitcher that George Steinbrenner signed a few weeks ago will make his debut for the Yankees tonight. Here's a pitch swung, foul out of play.
Well, Hideki Arabu, Harry, had kind of an inauspicious meeting with George Steinbrenner when the car that he was riding in bumped the car that George had. But he'll forgive him if he pitches a good game tonight.
There's going to be a little pressure on that young man tonight at Yankee Stadium. The pitch swung, almost held on a foul tip by Scott Service. So he's still up there.
Couldn't ask for a better day today. 73 degrees, the wind out of the northeast at 14, meaning it's blowing lazily straight in. So Kevin can get away with a few more fly balls. And he throws pop-ups or fly balls 58% of the time.
Now the 1-2 pitch. High, pop foul, out of play into the stands. Just to the right of the screen as we look down from the broadcast booth. There's a real Cub fan. He's got a fan in one hand, a glove in the other. 1 ball, 2 strikes. A little bit inside, 2-2.
Ron Gant is one of the Cardinals who has never faced Kevin Foster. That's most unusual.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Bouncing ball, foul. Ray Langford waiting to hit next. He's batting .333 with 17 homers, the leading home run hitter for the Cardinals. And he's also a guy who seems to be doing a lot of talking about his ball club. I don't know whether Tony La Russa encourages or discourages a player at length telling the writers what's wrong with the ball club. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Struck him out swinging. And Foster strikes out Ron Gant. 2 gone.
From the Southwest Plainview camera, here's one of the high fastballs we talked about, and Gant just can't catch up to it. So for the 98th time, he goes down on strikes.
Jack Buck is broadcasting the game for St. Louis. And he's got a book out. Jack Buck, that's the winner. Here's a pitch. It's been out for quite a while. By the way, that Warsaw to Wrigley, the book may not be on your favorite book stands yet, but it will be within the next couple of weeks. Langford, long ball hitter, 61 RBIs, hitting .333. A little bit low. Langford right next to Larry Walker in slugging percentage. 1-1 pitch. Swung, and he missed a changeup. He's improved on that, hasn't he?
That changeup has gotten a whole lot better for him. And he showed a very good one to Ray Langford.
1 ball, 2 strikes. There's a line drive in the center field. He just reached out and stroked that ball beautifully on the line.
Well, unfortunately, Kevin tried to throw 2 straight changes in a row. It's good, but not quite that good at this point. And you see Langford, he keeps the hands back just long enough to take it into center field. And that's the first hit of the game. Now you have to watch him because he does have pretty good speed, although he's not nearly their best base runner.
Dimitri Young, who broke in last year auspiciously with the Redbirds. Their first baseman, hitting .288. 3 homers, curveball inside.
Langford's stolen 15. He's been caught 7 times. The Cardinals as a team have stolen 94 bases. They've been caught 35 times. So once again, the Cardinals are one of the faster teams around.
1 ball, no strikes, 2 out, 1 on. You know, the Cardinals always have hit well in this ballpark for some strange reason. They're not well, their own ballpark in St. Louis is a bigger ballpark. Harder to hit home runs in. 1 ball, no strikes. A little bit outside, ball 2.
Dimitri Young is a switch hitter. Now he's hit a little better from the right side this year, although he's hit for more power from the left side. And with Brian Jordan on the disabled list, John Mabry has moved to right field, clearing first base for Dimitri Young.
2 balls, no strikes. Good power. Dimitri Young inside and low. And Gary Gaetti will be next. And he's high among the Cardinal hitters in hitting home runs against Cubs pitching. He's had 11 during his career. Strike over the outside corner. 3-1. And watch Langford now. Time is called. He's tying his shoelace.
This would be a good time for Kevin Foster. 1, to use the slide step. That is, if he comes home with it. Other than that, show Langford your best move at first base. You might catch him leaning the wrong way.
3-1, 2 out. Langford at first. Dimitri Young. There goes Langford. Ball 4 is low. And the Cardinals have runners on at first and second. And Gary Gaetti, hitting .256 for the year, steps to the plate.
What I don't like about this situation is Gaetti likes high fastballs, and he usually looks to right and right center field in RBI situations. He's a veteran hitter. The average is down for him this year, but he drives in some big runs for the Cardinals, and he's one of their better clutch hitters.
Runners at first and second. Gaetti, for years, was with the Twins. Strike over the outside corner. They're still coming into the ballpark. We're going to have better than 33,000 here. Now the pitch, here it is. Base hit, maybe it is. Here's a runner trying to score to throw to the plate. Save! He would have been out, I think, as Service dropped the ball. A perfect one-hop throw into the plate. But Langford got there just about the time Service, blocking the plate, reached to catch the ball.
Well, we told you about Gary Gaetti going to right center with RBI efficiency, and he does it again. Here comes Langford. The throw is on target. It might have short hopped Scott Service. That's the only problem. You want that ball a little bit further away from him so he can handle it. And watch it again. Watch how close this ball is. It does indeed short hop Service, and it hits the dirt, actually. Instead of hitting the grass up the line, it would have been an easier ball to handle. Yet he drives in his 33rd run of the year.
I was watching Jeff Kellogg, the plate umpire, very closely, and it looked like he was just getting ready to call him out. And then the ball, of course, was dropped. Runners at first and third. Here's a high fly ball. McRae in center field. Under the ball to retire the side. Mabry on the first pitch, flies out. 1 run, 2 hits, no errors, and 2 left. We go in the bottom of the first, 1-0, St. Louis. Harry Carey back at Wrigley Field. Here's Jim Riggleman's all-sport Chicago Cub lineup of Glanville, McRae, and Sosa. Grace, Dunston, and Sandberg. Ori, Service, and Foster. And the defense for the Redbirds, it'll be Ganton left, Langford in center, Mabry in right, Gaetti, Clayton, DeShields, and Young around the infield, DeFelice behind the plate. And Alan Bennis from Evansville, Indiana, will be on the hill.
Take a look at Alan Bennis, and you see his best pitch, the sinker and the slider. It's hard to really tell which is better. Dave Duncan, his pitching coach, said this young man has got tremendous heart, that he's got a chance to be just an exceptional pitcher. You look at the ERA at 2.55. Strikeout to walk ratio terrific.
7-1.
He's got a chance to be exceptional.
Glanville takes the strike call. And look at the third baseman and first baseman. Dimitri Young, the first baseman. Gary Gaeta, the third baseman, expecting a bunt. And now Alan Bennis doesn't like the feel of that ball. His first pitch of it was a strike. Glanville is 4th in the league in infield hits, 20 of them. Only Deion Sanders of the Reds and 2 other men have more. 0-1 the count. High fastball outside. Glanville playing the role of the leadoff man very well. Hitting .302 with 2 homers. He was jammed on that one. And Dimitri Young in foul territory makes the catch.
Now, last year, the Cubs hit Bennis very well, but bear in mind, that was his first year. They caught him for 11 earned runs on 15 hits in just 13 innings, although he was 2-0 against him. But they haven't taken a look at him this year, and if they look at that radar gun, they'll notice he's probably throwing 2 or 3 miles an hour faster than he did at any time last season.
So there's 1 out, and here's Brian McRae. Having a tough year. Takes the pitch outside. The Pirates are at home against Houston tonight. Ball 2 inside and high. 1-0 in favor of the Cardinals. They're the scouts checking this velocity of Bennis's pitching. His ratio of strikeouts to walks is 7-1. Ball high, he walked him. McRae. And here is Sammy Sosa, leading the team in homers with 17, and in runs batted in with 62.
Well, Sammy's had an interesting head-to-head battle with Alan Bennis. He's 2 for 9. He has hit a homer, but in between the homer has been 6 strikeouts.
1 out, 1 on. They're still coming into the ballpark. Curveball in there, a beauty. Strike 1 call. There are vacant seats in the 2 corners, in right and left. The bleachers are jam-packed. 0-1 the count. Second game of the series at 2:20 tomorrow. Saturday. I think the biggest crowd of all is expected. 12 o'clock game. And then Sunday, the finale. Ooh, he fouled the pitch back. Boy, he really had a rip.
Well, Alan Bennis is just a touch shorter than his brother Andy, and quite a bit lighter. He's 6'5", 215. His brother Andy, 6'6", 245. course, Allen probably has a little growing to do. He's just 25 years of age, and he is going to be one of the better right-hand pitchers in all of baseball before it's over.
Does that make him half as old as you're going to be Monday?
Just about exactly.
Here's the pitch. Line shot into center field. A base hit. Come on, run. McRae trotted down to second base on a solid single into center field. And here's Grace with runners on at first and second.
Well, I'm sure Dave Duncan is writing down for Alan Bennis to not be so careless with the 0-2 slider. That one is seemingly down and right in the middle of the plate. And Sammy just took it right back at him. And look at Mark Grace against Alan Bennis. He has just killed him.
Let's hope he continues that slaughter. Here's the pitch. Curveball over the outside corner. Change speeds on that one. Grace with 9 homers. Runners on at first and second. McRae. Clayton jockeys behind him. There's a pitch inside.
Wouldn't be surprised if they used a pickoff play in this situation behind Brian McRae. It's one of the easier ways to try to get out of a tough jam, especially with a man up to bat that's really killed you.
1 ball, 1 strike. Outside, ball 2. 2 balls and the strike. Cubs trailing 1-0. Have runners on. McRae at second. Sosa at first. Alan Bennis. There's a looper in the center field. A base hit. A run will score. Sammy around to third. And the Cubs have tied it up 1-1. And that for Grace. His 43rd RBI of the year.
Well, Mark Grace continues to hit Alan Bennis, and he seems like he's swinging a magic wand against him. Anything he does hit finds a hole. The Cubs have tied it up, and it came as a result of the walk to Brian McRae and the 2 base hits.
You know what they say in baseball when they bloop one like that? They say it looks like a line drive in a box score. Well, that certainly will, because it drove in a run. It wasn't hit exceptionally hard, but it was hit where nobody could catch it. Just looping over to Shields' head. And here's Dunston hitting .295.
And a bunt here is not necessarily a bad idea, especially with Getty back at third.
There's a pitch in there, a strike called. Dunston does that a lot.
Well, if he does it this time, Sammy will score easily, because I don't think they'd be able to get him at the plate.
Runners first and third. Game tied at 1. He hit that ball hard, but foul. Pulling on it. 0-2. The Evansville, Indiana family of the Bennises well represented on the Cardinals. Allen is pitching today. Adam will probably pitch tomorrow, and they have another kid in their farm system.
Allen has 8 wild pitches this year to lead the club in that department. That could come into play.
Runners first and third. Dunston trying to put the ball in play. Whoa, boy, almost that wild pitch you were talking about.
It's pretty good stuff. Stuff at the plate by Mike DeFelice. He just dropped down, and he was able to keep this ball somehow in front of him.
You know, that's a
save the run.
That's the toughest kind of save to make. It isn't a pickup. It's a ball that bounces about a foot or so in front of you. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Runners first and third. Outside, 2-2. Big crowd on hand, and that's almost guaranteed for the entire 4-game series. Game time 1:20 today, 2:20 tomorrow, 12:05 Saturday, and 1:20 Sunday. He foul tipped. Boy, he barely did. 2-2. Dunston's a hard figure for a pitcher to figure out. Takes a wild swing. You throw him the same ball next time, he might hit it out of the ballpark. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. Again, he fouls it back. A good time at bat for Sean, staying alive. The more pitches you make him throw, the more his chances of making a mistake. The rooftops are well populated today. Two-two pitch. Bouncing ball down the first baseline. Even the double-decker out there on Sheffield is well filled. Boy, they're scattered all over the place, right? A little Budweiser, a little barbecue, a little hot dog sandwich. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Tony La Russa to your right. Jim Riggleman to your left. Oh, change-up curveball, and he swung and missed. And here's Sandberg now.
This is one of the things that Bennis does well, is strikeout number 137, but this is a damaging one for the Cubs as Dunston leaves Sammy right at third. It's up to Ryne Sandberg to drive him home. He's one of the Cub best with runners in scoring position.
So 1 run is in, 2 men are on at first and third. Now they're 2 out. And Sandberg hitting .260 with 5 homers and 37 RBI. There's a fastball in there for a strike call.
The Rhino's been doing a lot better lately, is driving in some big runs. He started out slowly in the RBI department. You can see he killed the Philadelphia staff.
They shade him towards left. Ground ball. Dimitri's got it. And Young flips it over to pitcher Bennett. So it's 1 run, 2 hits, no errors, 2 left. At the end of 1, we're tied at 1. Harry Carey and Steve Stone. By the way, Hal McRae, Brian's father, who's a coach now for the Philadelphia Ball Club, is celebrating a birthday today. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Hal. Happy birthday to you. And many, many, many more of them coming your way. Here is DeFelice, the catcher.
DeFelice he's done a very nice job defensively. He's got a strong arm. He's hard to run against.
Swung, and he fouled it back. Had a good cut.
He has some problems swinging the bat, but as a very short-time major leaguer, they expect that to get a little better.
Mike DeFelice. They got their gloves on, ready. Pitch is high and outside. Birthday greetings to Lauren Jackson, Lauren, from Kevin Foster's pitching today. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
You don't want to walk this man hitting just 213 ahead of Royce Clayton.
Fouled and back and out of play, and the count stays 3-2.
The Cardinals were playing pretty good baseball till they got swept with Pittsburgh, and the disturbing thing for Tony La Russa was that they had the lead in all 4 of those games, only to see the Pirates come roaring back in each of them.
3 balls, 2 strikes. He walked him. Leads off the inning with a walk to the 7th place hitter in the batting order. Happy birthday to Jenna Caroli, daughter of WGN cameraman Joe Perzoli, celebrating her first birthday today.
Now, Royce Clayton is grounded into 11 double plays, and normally you wouldn't think about a bunt ahead of a pitcher, but Alan Bennis is a very good hitting pitcher, so it is a possibility. 11 double plays, leads the club in that department.
There's a strike call. Royce Clayton hitting .264 with 6 homers, 36 RBIs. Fly ball. Sammy coming in. He'll get it easily. And Royce Clayton flies to Sosa short right. 1 away. Birthday greetings to Lauren Jackson. I mentioned that, I believe. And Cubs trainer Dave Tumbas says the Cubs training staff welcomes Jason Wolf to the club. Wolf, a student trainer at the University of Iowa, will be interning with the Cubs training staff during the homestand.
Well, Bennis has only 1 sacrifice this year, and I think Mark Grace went out to talk with Kevin Foster and tell him that Bennis is a pretty good hitter.
Over the outside corner is strike call. What if he could keep the ball at that spot? Even if he is a good hitter, he'll get him out.
That's a pretty good pitch. A fastball at the knees on the outside corner. And Allen takes a long look down at former Marlins skipper Renee Latchman, the third base coach.
1 out, 1 on. Game tied up. He bunts. A good bunt. The only play. The first base is Sandberg, who's covering from Grace to Sandberg. A sacrifice. The down Frisky's the official score today. And here
it's Delano DeShields. Last year at Los Angeles hit just .224. He fanned 124 times. And this year, he's got that batting average way up there, and he's having a fine year.
Very fast. The pitch. A little bit inside. 1 ball, no strikes. Beautiful day. The sailboats are out on Lake Michigan in the hundreds. 1 ball, no strikes. A lead by DeFelice. Good pitch, a strike call.
Shields really has had an up-and-down career. He started out with great promise with Montreal, was traded to L.A., but none other than Pedro Martinez. Things didn't work out for him in Los Angeles very well, but since coming over as a free agent here to St. Louis, he's done a nice job for him at the top.
Strike 2 called over the inside corner, and that was Foster's good fastball. 2 out. A runner in scoring position. Delano DeShields, the hitter. That evens it up, 2-2.
Now the outfield playing a little more shallow with the wind blowing in, and you've got the great arms in left and right. Ryan throws fairly well in center. So on a base hit, there is a shot at DeFelice. As you know, he's a slow-running catcher.
2 balls, 2 strikes. High, ball 3. You know, just take a moment. I certainly want to congratulate Tony Muser, who's become the new manager of the Kansas City Royals. And it couldn't happen to a nicer or a more deserving guy. He's been so close to being picked to manage several times during his career. Always somebody beat him out. Now he's got the job, and he'll do a great job for Kansas City. Here's a pitch foul back. And he did a great job here in various roles, and especially after never being named manager, and several times he was right at the top of the list.
Well, Harry, he also made it through a few administrations here, which shows you that he does have a whole lot of value. And I echo your sentiments. I'm sure he's going to do a great job for the Royals.
3 balls, 2 strikes. Sliced it foul. And the Shield stays alive up there. The outfield plays him relatively shallow and more or less straight away. A lot of Cardinal fans, of course, are here, as well as Cub fans. I think the Blues far outnumbered the Reds, though. 3-2 pitch. Foul tip. He checked his swing and foul tipped the ball.
Well, you have to try fairly hard to walk the Shields, as we've told you. 28 walks and 304 at bats. So unless it's way off the mark, he's usually swinging.
3 balls, 2 strikes. Big pitch. He walked him. And that's a 3rd walk given up by Kevin Foster.
And that one wasn't close, and DeShields not even tempted to go up there and try to swing at it. So now you've got to deal with Ron Gant. Threw the fastball by him, the high fastball the first time, and he'd like more of the same right here.
But there's danger here, Cherie, because this guy's got good power. 12 homers, 40 runs batted in, hitting .229 in an off year. Swung at a high fastball. He chased a bad pitch. Let's pause for identification.
This is America's #1 sports station, WGN-TV, Chicago.
0-1 the count on Ron Gant. Got to worry about this guy. If you make a mistake, it's 3 runs. He held up. The pitch is high and outside, and the count is evened up.
Well, one of the keys to the Cardinals and any kind of hope they have in the second half is Ron Gant. After his insertion in #2 spot in the batting order, he has got to drive in some runs. And with the Shields getting on like he is, Gant becomes a key to the batting order.
He tapped it right in front of the plate. Up with a Foster over the first to retire the side. No runs, no hits, no errors, 2 left. We're going to the bottom of the second, tied up 1-1. Eric Carey back at the ballpark. Kevin Ory will lead it off. He's hitting .272 with 3 homers, 19 RBI for a rookie. He's doing outstandingly well. I guess only the Phillies, their third baseman, Roland, probably leads them so far as Rookie of the Year award is concerned. Look at that.
Well, I think, Gary, that
know.
Vladimir Guerrero and possibly Wilton would be ahead at this point of Kevin Ory. But if he puts together a good stretch second part of this year and stays healthy, he might have a shot at it.
Oh, missed a bad pitch. He rarely swings at those guys. 2 balls and a strike. Bottom of the second, tied up at 1. The outfield plays Ory deep. Strike right in there. 2-2. Who said a Cub fan and a Cardinal fan can't get along? There's a couple of them right there. Enjoying a hot dog, a little Budweiser. Strike 3 call. Ory called out on strike. 1 out. Here's Service, who's raised his average to 270 with 5 homers, 29 RBI.
All things considered, Scott Service turned it into a very good first half of the season. He became the club's best hit and run man. He made contact. He started driving in some big runs. And now he's using right field quite a bit for his base hits.
There's a strike call to Service. A little bit low and away. 1 ball, 1 strike. One tie. A little bit low. Fouled it out of play. Ah, there's one of Arnie's favorite shots. That's a pretty good-looking hat.
Well, it's a Notre Dame hat, Harry. And speaking of Notre Dame, one of the former coaches was at the park today, Jerry Faust.
He'll probably come up to the booth. He normally does. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. A little bit outside, ball. 3-2. Fouled it back again. He's still alive.
You know, Harry, I was up in one of your favorite towns during the All-Star break, Minneapolis. Had a chance to go to a place called the Pickled Parrot. I'm not sure if that was around when you were there, but a gentleman by the name of Mohammed waited on us, did a great job. He said he was a big Cub fan, watched us all the time, and wanted to say hello to you. So I figured I would mention his name and tell you hello from him.
Very good. I remember Mohammed very well. There's a high pop fly in foul territory. Dimitri Young is there, and 2 away. That brings up Foster, a good hitting pitcher.
Did you like Minneapolis in your time there?
Oh, I thought it was a great city. The Robertson family, you know, and they had a great press lounge at the ballpark in Bloomington. And I used to go out there early. There was a saloon right across the highway from the ballpark where they had the Cub games on WGN on cable. And I would watch the Cubs all afternoon long and walk across the street and do the White Sox. 1 ball, no strikes. But all fun-loving people in Minneapolis, like Chicago, like St. Louis. 2 balls, no strikes. Alan Bennett fires a strike call.
Well, Kevin said he's going to concentrate a little more on his hitting this second half. And if he does that, he can be probably as good a hitter as Alan Bennett or anybody else in this league.
There's a long drive, deep right field. Kearney in the foul territory into the stand.
Well, I suggested to him today that he best really concentrate on his hitting because it probably will be a close game with Alan Bennis on the mound and Kevin throwing as well as he's thrown.
2 balls, 2 strikes. In the National League, it makes a difference if you're a good hitting pitcher. The pitch, strike 3 call. 1, 2, 3, nothing across. At the end of 2, they're tied at 1. Harry Carey and Steve Stone at Wrigley Field has raced Langford, who singled and scored the only Cardinal run in the first. Will lead it off.
When you consider that Langford started the year on the disabled list and that he's played at least 20 less games than anybody on this team, you'd have to figure this would be quite a year for him with 61 runs driven in just 66 games.
He swings and he misses. Strike 1. 1 strike and nothing. First of a 4-game series. Pitch high and outside. You know, all over the country, people, fans, in spite of the team that they're the true fan of, are pulling for the Pirates. I never saw anything like it.
Well, it's an amazing story, Harry.
It really is.
And so are the San Francisco Giants.
Here's a pitch a little bit inside, but they have more money to play with. The Pirates, with only $9 million payroll for the year for the whole ball club, are amazing. 2 balls and a strike. Swung and a miss. Langford, the leading Redbird with home runs and RBIs. 17 and 61 respectively. He struck him out. He tried to check his swing, but he had gone around.
From the Southwest Plainview camera, we'll take a look at a good fastball low and away. Langford couldn't check his swing, and Service frames it for Jeff Kellogg, and that's the at-bat. And there is the Southwest Airlines Plainview camera high atop Wrigley Field, and this is a gorgeous day for baseball.
Whoa, he had a good cut. Dimitri Young, hitting .288, walked his first time up. Boy, I was so sorry to read where Jerry Doggett, for years a partner of Vince Scully, doing the Dodger games, about 25 years or so, passed away a couple days ago at age 80. Jerry Doggett. Our condolences to his family. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Strikeout number 3 for Kevin Foster.
Well, when Foster gets ahead of you a couple of strikes, he just goes to the high heat, and usually you can't catch up to it up there. But the left-handers keep swinging at it, and they keep going down.
Well, I don't want to pat you on the back about this long-lasting argument of ours between pitching and hitting, but I will have to give you. Here's a drive, might be out of here. It could be, and it is. It hits the back screen in left field. And Gaetti, I think that's his 12th home run against Cub pitching. Now, mind you, most of his time has been spent in the American League, and the Cardinals lead 2-1.
Well, unfortunately, Kevin got a changeup up and out over the plate. I'm not sure if Gaetti knew it was coming, but he swung at it like he did. You see the high changeup, and it's gone. And both runs batted in to Gary Gaetti, giving him 34 this year. That was his 7th home run, and there was no doubt about that one. And Kevin has given up another solo homer.
Isn't it a good idea to To give a guy a change on a first pitch, he's got to have something that the change is compared to in his swing.
Well, it depends, Harry, first of all, where you throw it. I personally didn't like a straight change on the first pitch, but that was my style. Kevin thought it was a good pitch for the moment, and it turned into his 17th home run given up.
2-1 now in favor of the Cardinals. I started to say with all the All-Stars, and that was a fun game, and that's the way all baseball should be. Fun for the fans as well as the players. I thought it was outstanding in that regard. There's a pitch, and Mabry fouls it back. But there were a total of 4 runs made. One man, Sandy Alomar, only went to bat one time. He accounted for 2 runs. 2 out of the total of 4. One individual with his bat hitting a homer with a man on. There's Mabry going down swinging. We'll pick that up again in a moment. 1 hit, 1 run. We go in the bottom of the 3rd. The Cardinals lead 2-1. Harry Carey back at Wrigley Field. Steve, I was mentioning a total of 4 runs was made in the All-Star game. One man accounted for 2 of them, which is double what each of the other teams had done all game long. With all those great hitting stars, here's Glanville taking pitch outside. So I gotta agree with you. The pitching is more important than hitting, apparently.
At this point, Harry, when you look at the numbers, the top 8 pitching teams are all in contention for either the titles or wild card. On the other side of the coin, 2 of the 4 best hitting teams are Colorado and San Diego. They're also second last and third last from the bottom in pitching, and neither are awfully close in their races. So it looked to me like pitching this year, like every year, is what you're looking for.
Well, for the moment, I'll agree with you. 3 balls and a strike.
But you do know that if Glanville can get on to lead off an inning,
they could be good. He did, but he took a strike call, 3-2. At least he carries the count along as a leadoff man. 3-2 now. Fouled it back.
Well, Glanville really is just starting to do that because he didn't show that kind of on-base percentage in the minor leagues. But Jim Riggleman and his coaching staff had a talk with him and said if you're going to hit leadoff in the major leagues, you have to take more pitches and you have to draw more walks. The infield hits are going to be there because of his speed.
Again, he fouls it back. Now, every pitch he stays alive on is another pitch that the pitcher has to throw, and eventually you might tire him out quicker in the late innings. 3-2 pitch. Fouled it back again. Well, the Nissan trivia question. Bob Gibson is the Cardinals' all-time strikeout leader. Who's second on the list? High fly ball should be caught. The shield goes out. Mabry comes in, and Mabry makes the catch. 1 out. I would say, well.
How long did Dizzy pitch for him?
Pretty long, but not that long. I'm going to have to say, well, Steve Carlson didn't pitch for them long either. I'm going to say Jess Haynes. I don't know why, but I said Jess Haynes.
Well, the only guy I know besides Carlton, I know he probably wasn't it, was Bob Forsch, so I'll say Bob Forsch. Only because the other 2 guys were just a touch before my time.
1 out, nobody on. McRae, a little bit low. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Ryan has started to draw many more base on balls. In fact, in 2 games in Philadelphia, he had a total of 5. And that's the most unusual for him. But that helped the Cubs score a lot of runs.
Ball outside. 2 balls and the strike. 1 out, nobody on.
And it was Brian's walk in the first that led to the only Cubs run.
The infield in at third. The pitch. The low ball 3. And Sammy Sosa, who singled in the first, is set up the lone run, would be next. High foul ball out of play. 3-2. And Bennis on each of the first 2 hitters is carried a long count. 3-2 again. He walked the ball 4, and again McRae walked. And here is Sosa in this situation. Single to center in the first.
I think Bennis was a little unhappy with the call of Jeff Kellogg. That was a slider. And it looked like he wanted it, and so did DeFelice, but Kellogg thought it was up a little too high.
Pete Vanaken, whose Peoria Ball Club is associated with the St. Louis Cardinals, used to be with the Cubs, watching the ball game here today.
McRae with 9 stolen bases. He's been caught 6 times.
Ground ball. Second baseman gets a long way and throws him out. Almost punched the ball through there. Sosa grounds out to the shield, bringing up Grace with a tying run at second.
You would have to think that they would be very careful with Mark Grace, knowing that only one time in Alan Bennis's career has he retired him. And it was Grace who drove home the run in the first inning. Nobody has to tell Bennis that he's just been very hittable for Grace.
So Grace, who drove in the first run, tries to drive in the second, which would be the tying run.
I would think, Harry, what they try to do here would be pitch him away, play him away, so if they do have a base hit, it would be to left field.
Yeah, look where they're playing him. Boy, look at the gap in right center. Over the inside corner. Now pan the crowd. Arnie shows you right there. Look at that big gap.
I don't think they wanted that one inside as DeFelice goes out to talk with Bennis. The best arm in the outfield by far is Mabry in right field. Langford has a pretty decent arm. Gant doesn't throw well at all. So on a base hit to left, McRae is going to score the tying run. And that's where Mark Grace hits him, and that's why you can't really defense him any one way, because he hits him all over.
That's pretty well distributed. 33 to right field. Over 40 to other field. 1 ball, 1 strike. One ball, 1 strike. There's Terry Mulholland. A lot of conversation about him because he's pitched well for the Cubs. A lot of clubs looking for that one additional pitcher with a chance to win their division. And that's why you read so much about possible trades. 2 balls and the strike.
I would be astounded if he gave Mark Grace anything too good to hit here. He's probably going to make Grace try to hit the ball out of the strike zone if he hits it.
Ball 3 low. They appeal, but the third base umpire, Rich Rieker, indicates he didn't swing. And the count now is 3-1. A man in scoring position. McRae.
This is really a lot of confidence in a young pitcher, asking him to pitch around a hitter, but don't throw a wild pitch.
He walked the ball 4, and here is Sean Dunson, who eventually struck out after fouling off a number of pitches his first time up. There's the National League leaders in bases on balls, and Grace is 5th in the league. Here's Dunson. And Sean's a pretty good man with men on base. He's a good curveball hitter. Swing. And he swung at a bad ball. Oh, and 1 to count. Runners at first and second. Cardinals lead 2-1. By virtue of Gary Gaetti, who's driven in both runs. One with a 2-out single in the first, and the other with a 2-out homer in the third. And now DeFelice, they have to give the catcher a little scooter. He can go out there, save a lot of wear and tear on his leg.
It's Tony La Russa, and I like what he had to say about that series with the Pirates. He said it was very simple. He said they just outpitched us, out-hit us, and outplayed us. No excuses. The Pirates, at least in that series, were a better team, and that's why they swept us 4 straight. And you have to hand it to the Pirates going into St. Louis before the break.
Yeah.
They put together 4 solid ball games.
Now the pitch. The bouncing ball. He's got a chance to beat it out from a close play. Nice play by DeShield. So no runs, no hits, no errors. 2 left. At the end of 3, the Cardinals lead the Cubs 2-1. Eric Carey and Steve Stone at Wrigley Field. Here is Mike DeFelice to lead it off. He walked his first time. Pitch low and outside.
I really like this time of year because you have so many rumors swirling around about trades, and you have teams trying to decide if they're in the race or out of the race or have a chance at the wild card or don't, and that determines what their general managers are going to do on a daily basis.
Now the pitch. Swung and he missed. There's Al Raboski and Pete Van Aken. Al, a former major league pitcher, now does work with the St. Louis TV. And Pete Van Aken, my dear friend for many years, now associated with the Cardinals. He's owner of the Peoria Chiefs, who are the Cardinals' Midwest League representative. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Struck him out over the outside corner. And that's strikeout number 5. All right, here's a Nissan trivia question. And the answer is Dizzy Dean. Well, you got a runner-up very close. Only 8 away.
Well, thanks. I just didn't know how long Diz pitched for the Cardinals.
Only 8 years. I knew it wasn't very long. What a great one he was. A big hello to Tom and Doug Boyd watching the ball game. High pop fly on the infield. Sandberg shading his eye. Under it, makes the catch. 2 gone. And here's a pitcher, Alan Venice. Pretty good hitter. 9 out of 40 for the year. Looking ahead to the bottom of the 4th. Sandberg will lead it off for the Cubs. He had a good cut, but he missed. Kevin Foster's fan, 5 Cardinals in 3 2/3 innings. All ages watching baseball at Wrigley Field. 0-2 the count. 2 out, nobody on. A little bit outside. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Come out. Strikeout number 6. So we go in the bottom of the 4th. And the Cardinals lead 2-1.
On today's Discover Card Payback Playback, Mark Grace hit the All-Star break on a high note, driving the 100th home run of his career over the right field wall at Veterans Stadium Sunday.
Harry Carey back at Wrigley Field. Can't beat fun at the old ballpark, right? Here is Sandberg. Cubs trailing by 1. Sandberg grounded out with 2 men on to end the inning in the first. Strike call. Dennis, a tough cookie. He's won 7, lost 7 with a great earned run average of 2.55.
Well, like a lot of the other Cardinals starters, he has really suffered from lack of support. This team just hasn't hit. And Harry, that article you were referring to on Ray Langford, all he said was, we need somebody in the middle of this order to set off the order, preferably a man who can hit for some power, because the loss of Brian Jordan has really hurt them.
Now the pitch a little bit low.
So offensively, they've just struggled scoring runs. But they're pitching second best in the major leagues behind the Atlanta Braves, so there's nothing wrong with that.
There's ball 3 low and away. Sandberg with Kevin Ory next.
Well, you figure to see a fastball here. Let's see if Rhino gets it middle in.
Strike 2, caught the inside corner. And Sandberg thought it was ball 4.
Well, Rhino got his fastball, but it wasn't a hittable spot for him. DeFelice wants it in. Rhino thought it was low and in. Kellogg thought it was good enough.
That looked like he might have hit the inside corner. 3-2 pitch. High fly ball, easy out. Mabry shaving his eyes, makes the catch.
Kids, call 1-888-CUBS-FAN and become a member of the Halo Chicago Cubs Kids Club. Join and receive an official membership card along with Cubs cap, sunglasses, calculator, notebook, pen, and 2 tickets to a Cub game along with much more. That's the Halo Cubs Kids Club at 1-888-CUBS-FAN. Call and join today.
1 out, nobody on. Here's Kevin Ory. Out on strikes, his first trip. Hot shot, nice play. Over to first for the out. Boy, oh boy, Royce Clayton breaking to his left quickly, threw out Ory.
Well, Clayton has played some excellent shortstop. And if the ball hits on the grass first, it's going to be tough to drive it through this infield. So Clayton, who is shaded up the middle, makes this play on the high hop, and he's very accurate with his throwing arm.
So with 2 away, here's Service, fouled out his first time up. Swung and he missed. One strike and nothing. Pitch outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Oh, I really love the title of Joe Reeves' book. The pitch. Foul back out of play. From Warsaw to Wrigley is the title of his book. A foreign correspondent's tale of coming home from communism to the Cubs. Joe Reeves, for a couple of years, covered Cub baseball after having been a foreign correspondent for the Tribune before. He's been living in Hong Kong the last couple of years.
Well, he thought it was about time to come out of there and come home after the changeover.
I tell you, his wife has a very important job over there. There's a bouncing ball up the middle. Nice pickup by Clayton to throw. What a play. Tremendous play by Rice Clayton to retire the side 1, 2, 3. Boy, he went over to the second base side of the bag. At the end of 4, 2-1, St. Louis. With Steve Stone, Harry Carey back at Wrigley Field, where the Cardinals lead the Cubs 2-1. A pitching duel between Kevin Foster of the Cubs and Alan Bennis of the Cardinals.
Well, so far, Harry, Kevin Foster's thrown very well against the Cardinals, but very poorly to Gary Gaetti, and that's the difference in the game.
The pitch to DeShields. He's nothing out of 1, flied out and walked.
Have to watch a first base line. DeShields on the off-speed pitch will go down that first base line quite often, and Mark Grace is over toward the line.
Swung, fouled it back. Boy, Gaetti with 2 out in the first, singled to right, scoring Langford from second. And then with 2 out in the third, Foster started out striking out the first 2 hitters. He hit Foster's first pitch for a long home run to left field, hitting a back screen of the bleachers. Not quite getting on the Waveland Avenue. There's, what a play! What a play by Kevin Ory, robbing DeShields of extra bases. What a play!
Kevin Ory goes to his right and takes what could have been a double away from DeShields. Diving full out, making the grab, looking at Rich Rieker for the appeal. And watch the reaction of Delino DeShields. It's a high fastball. He thinks it's in there for sure, and then, oh my, wow, he robbed me.
1 out, nobody on. And here is Ron Gant. Gant struck out and tapped out. 1 out, nobody on. Bouncing foul. Well, we got to get some runs. See, here we go again. What good is good pitching if you can't score?
Well, if the opponent has good pitching, you don't score. Or you don't score very much.
Ron
Gant at Wrigley Field has had his troubles.
Got good power. Strike over to the outside corner of the knee.
That outside corner getting a little further out for Jeff Kellogg as this game moves along. And the hitters are going to have to go out there and get it.
1 man out, nobody on. High pop fly on the infield. Grace shaving his eye. And he makes the catch.
Cub fans, be sure to pick up the limited edition publications package produced exclusively for this weekend's Cubs Cardinal series. The package includes a Cubs quarterly magazine with Harry Carey on the cover, a commemorative scorecard, and a special Cubs Cardinals pennant. The package sells for $5 and is available at Wrigley Field or by calling 800-248-9467. That's 800-248-9467.
Whose picture did you say is on the cover?
I said your picture was on the cover.
Do you have my picture there?
No, they don't. They haven't sent up any. I'm sure you're getting tremendous royalties for it, however.
Oh, yeah, sure you do. Now the pitch swung and missed. Ray Langford. Every royalty I get goes to Father Smith and to Maryville. 2 out, nobody on. Swung and he missed again. Kevin Foster has already fanned 6.
Kevin's gotten a lot of mileage out of that high fastball. And 1 more head high, and that'll probably be the at-bat.
Fouled it back. He had a good cut again. Langford, their leading home run hitter and RBI man. 17 homers, 61 ribbies. One ball, 2 strikes. Fouled it back.
Hey, did you see the all-time list that they voted for every position. Dennis Eckersley was the closer all time in baseball.
That's amazing, isn't it?
That is quite an accomplishment.
1 ball, 2 strikes. A little bit outside, 2-2.
I'd like to have to choose an outfield from all of the greatest players in history and only choose 3. That'd be a tough job.
I tell you, after the All-Star game, here's a high pop foul. Everybody chasing it into the stands, out of play. Now they have a major league team in Puerto Rico. They sure have enough major league ball players. They had what, about 7 of the players in the All-Star game stood out and they're all from Puerto Rico.
Well, they do play winter ball there, Harry. Most of the Puerto Rican players go down there and play in the Winter League, and that is their major leagues down there. And the fans appreciate seeing their stars, and they'll come home and many of them will play.
2 balls, 2 strikes, swung on. High fly ball, Glanville, short left. That retires the side. 1, 2, 3 again. That's 7 in a row retired since the home run. We go in the bottom of the 5th. Cubs trail 2-1. Harry Carey back at Forbes, back at Wrigley Field. I don't know about Forbes Field. Remember Forbes in Pittsburgh? Here's the pitch in there for a strike call. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
I do. A beautiful field, Harry, right across from the University of Pittsburgh.
Yeah. That's where Roberto Clemente, speaking of Latin ball players, how could you be better than he was?
Can't be too much better, and he's a hero to many generations of young Puerto Rican players coming up. They look at what Roberto accomplished in the major leagues and try to pattern their careers after him. And their young outfielder, Jose Guillen, is compared with Roberto Clemente.
Yeah. Here's the pitch, swung on. High pop fly. Under the ball, Royce Clayton. And boy, this Dennis is rolling along.
Join Sammy Sosa, Mark Grace, and the entire Cubs team as they bring a taste of the Caribbean to the shores of Lake Michigan. It's a 1997 Cubs Care Calypso Cruise on Wednesday, August 6th. Dine, dance, and mingle with your favorite Cub players and coaches as we create our own tropical paradise aboard Chicago's premier cruise ship, the Odyssey. Tickets are $200 per person, and all proceeds benefit Cubs Care, the charitable arm of the Chicago Cubs. For more information, call 773-404-CUBS.
Here, McRae. 2 out, nobody on.
Been up twice and walked twice.
1 ball, 1 strike. Remember the Cubs cocktail reception and auction Sunday evening between 7 and 9. Here's a strike call over the outside corner. Fly ball in the center field. Langford will make the catch to retire the side. And Bennis has retired 7 in a row. At the end of 5, the Cardinals lead 2-1. Harry Carey and Steve Stone as we go to the top of the 6th. Young swings and misses the first pitch. That evens the count. A ball and a strike. One other game being played. Anaheim's at Oakland. Anaheim leads 2-1 over Oakland in the 2nd. And he's ahead of Dimitri Young. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Kevin can use that high fastball again. He'll either get the pop-up or the strikeout, assuming he keeps it head high. Young hasn't shown the patience to lay off that one yet, but he's still a very young hitter.
High and inside. The count evens up. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Young is walked and fanned. Struck him out. Strikeout number 7 for Kevin Foster.
Well, there's the good high fastball. And he throws it right by Dimitri Young for the second time. The Southwest Airlines Plainview camera. Take a look at the fastball, just too high for him to catch up with.
1 out. Boy, here's a guy who's given them all his trouble. He'd be working on a shutout, but for Gaetti, we hit a two-out single for the first run in the first inning, and then a 2-out homer in the third. The Cardinals, most home runs at Wrigley Field by a Cub opponent, 15. I think Gaetti has hit a 12 now himself against the Cubs pitching, both at home and on the road. 1 ball, 1 strike. Off his glove, got a chance. Nope, no play. A base hit for Gary Gaetti, who's 3 out of 3.
You can probably count the infield hits that Gaetti has this year on one hand, but he picks up an infield hit there, his 3rd of the year. And Kevin Foster unhappy with himself. Kevin's a terrific fielder, and he usually makes this play, but this time the ball hits off his glove. I think he thought it was hit harder than it really was, and by the time he could right the ship, he can't get it over in time. So he has Gaetti aboard, and Gaetti does not have particularly good speed.
Yeah, but it brings up John Mabry, who's a tough hitter. A little bit low and inside. 1 ball, no strikes.
Mabry's one of the few of the Cardinals who have had good luck against Kevin Foster. Although not today, he's held him down 0 for 2. That makes him 3 for 8 lifetime against him with a double.
There's a high pop foul on the changeup, and he evens up the count 1-1. My limo. You know, Foster's career high is 13 strikeouts in the game against the Cardinals 2 years ago.
Mabry's grounded into 9 double plays. If Kevin can get the ground ball, it'll be 10.
High pop fly. Dunston goes out calling. Makes the catch. 2 away. And here's Mike DeFelice. He's walked and fanned. It'll be Sosa, Grace, and Dunston. And if anybody gets on, Sandberg in the bottom of the 6th. So maybe the Cubs can get something going. Foster is pitching tremendously well. Let's pause for identification.
This is America's #1 sports station, WGN-TV, Chicago.
Mike DeFelice with a count, ball 1. That evens it up, 1-1. 2 men are out, a runner at first.
John Saget of Walton Chrysler Plymouth and Skokie is on hand, as is John Kohut of North Oak Chrysler Plymouth in Chicago, on just a gorgeous day for baseball.
1-1 pitch. Fouled it back. Well, you know, Ted Williams, the last guy to hit 400, he hit 406, and Ted's probably watching in San Diego. I'd like to pass along my personal regards. That very same year, 1941, is the year that Joe DiMaggio hit 56 straight games. That's a heck of a year, 1941 in baseball.
Good year for hitters.
Hey, struck him out. Strikeout number 8. And we go into the bottom of the sixth. The Cubs trail by 1, 2-1. Harry Carey back at Wrigley Field, and here is Sammy Sosa. He contributed to the first run with a base hit that's put McGray in scoring position in the first. And then he rolled out in the third.
Well, with Bennis's inability to get out Grace, Sosa becomes a key to the inning. If he can get on, Cubs could be in pretty good shape.
1 ball, no strikes. Everybody else plays tonight with the exception of Anaheim at Oakland. They're playing there now. Game's in the third. Anaheim leads Oakland 2-1. 2 balls, no strike. Strike over the outside corner. That was a perfect pitcher's strike. Over the outside corner above the knees. There you see Alan Bennis. 2 balls and a strike. Strike 2 over the inside corner.
If you get on, or Sammy gets on, in 10 at-bats lifetime, Alan Bennis struck out Grace the first time he ever faced him, and that was the last time he ever retired him.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Ball 3. I didn't read that, Arnie. Oh. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Sosa leading it off. Inside, ball 4. And the tying run is on.
Well, now if you want to use the hit and run, this is a real good time for it. Not necessarily on the first pitch, but somewhere in this sequence, because you stay out of the double play. You know, Mark is not running quite as well as he did before the ankle injury, and you want to stay away from 2.
And Sosa's one of the fastest men on the Cubs. Double play ball to second base for 1, to first base for 2. On the first pitch, Grace grounded into a fast double play. Gaetti to DeShield to Young.
Well, for only the second time in the career of Alan Bennis, he retires Mark Grace, and it's a snappy 5-4-3 double play. And for Mark Grace, that's the 8th time he's grounded into a double play.
So the leadoff walk is not important now, as the double play nullified it. 2 out, nobody on. Dunston in there for a strike call. Bennis throws hard.
Also, Harry, he can do a couple of different things with his fastball. That's most unusual for a young pitcher. He can sail it to make it look like a slider to the right-handers. He can also sink it inside to them. And when you have that kind of life on the fastball, you're tough.
Oh, he made him swing at a bad pitch again. And it's 0-2. Bennis is allowed 11 home runs, strike 3. And Dunston for the second time has fanned. No runs, no hits, nobody left. At the end of 6, Cardinals 2, Cubs 1. Harry Carey and Steve Stone as we go into the top of the 7th. Royce Clayton leading it off. Ball 2.
Ramon Tatis loosening up in the bullpen, so perhaps Kevin has gotten to the point pitch-wise where they're a little concerned about his durability. Because as soon as Kevin went out there, Tatis started loosening up.
There's a drive. Deep left field, twisting into foul territory. Boy, Clayton really teed off on that. But got out in front too far, too fast, and pulled the ball foul.
Now that you've speeded his bat up, a good pitch here is a straight change. Anything to slow it down. Kevin really has gone to just the fastball and the straight change today. And he's given up just 4 hits. So you can see in road games, Royce Clayton much more dangerous than in home games.
He has 8 strikeouts already. Ball 3 is high. His career high was 13 against the Cardinals 2 years ago.
Have to really guard against trying to overthrow this one. You leave it up high if you do.
Swung, and the count is long now, 3-2. Good crowds on all the rooftops. There's one in left field. All the way around the ballpark. There's the pitch. Struck him out. Strikeout number 9. Gaetti is responsible for both Cardinal runs.
Well, this one was up and in. Service wanted it low and away. Kevin just threw it by him.
Here now is Alan Bennis. He's allowed only 2 hits. Foster's permitted only 4. 3 of them by one man. Gary Gaetti. There's a high fly ball, left field, easy out. Glanville is there, 2 gone. The Cardinals have only 4 hits, 3 of them, 3 of the 4 by Gary Gaetti. Not only does he have 3 hits, he's driven in their 2 runs. One with a 2-out single in the first, the other with a 2-out homer in the third.
The Shields doesn't bunt much, but you have to watch it here.
Long fly ball. Glanville on the run makes the catch. 1, 2, 3. At the end of 7, it's still St. Louis 2 and Chicago 1. Sandberg leading it off in the bottom of the 7th. Ground ball, left field, base hit. Sandberg singles on left. And now here is Kevin Ory. I see my good friend Mike Shannon, who formerly played third base and center field for the Cardinals as a player. Boy, does he love Wrigley Field. I don't think he ever played this series here without hitting a home run.
Well, there's a lot of hitters who say the same thing, Harry. And now as we're getting down closer to the spot occupied by Kevin Foster, you got Turk Wendell loosening up in the pen. Barring a double play, Kevin will come up to bat. And then the decision becomes to Jim Riggleman.
And here's Ory. Let's see what he's going to do. He held up. They go up. They appeal to the first base umpire. Ponchino says he did go around, so it's strike 1.
On a ground ball in the infield, you'd love to see Rhino break up 2. Got to keep this inning alive. Cubs running out of at bats, but they trail only by 1.
And it's getting late. We're in the bottom of the 7th. Owen won the count. Bennis fakes a throw to first, but he gets stepped back off the rubber.
Rhino with 4 stolen bases. He's been caught 3 times.
Sandberg a lead. A little bit low, ball 1. And the count is evened up. A ball and a strike. The Cubs are 4.5 behind the Cardinals. They can move to within 3.5 by beating them. But the Cardinals lead 2-1 in the bottom of the 7th. Back to first base goes Rhino. Will the Cubbies do something today? Only the shadow knows. 1 ball, 1 strike. Again, Bennett steps off the rubber. Oh, a base hit here. And Ori looks down at Dan Radisson coaching the third. Mako Olivares, the pride of Puerto Rico at first. He swings and he misses. And now he's behind on the count 1-2. He looks down at Radisson. When a batter stares at the coach, does that make the opposition figure that something's on?
In this situation, I don't know what could be on as far as Kevin Ori is concerned. He's got 2 strikes he's got to protect.
1 ball, 2 strikes. A little bit low and inside, 2-2.
Well, you got to figure you're going to see a slider here. He just went inside, pushed him back off the plate. And let's see if Kevin can guide the ball into right field. DeShields is playing somewhat up the middle. There's a big hole on the right side as we look at Mike DeFelice.
And let's see if they have the hit and run on here. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Sandberg dives back in safely. Big crowd on hand. Beautiful day. And more of the same, even warmer tomorrow is the forecast. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Oh, he chased a terrible pitch.
That was that cut fastball. It looks like a slider, but it comes in 90 plus. He threw it away from Ori. Kevin was not looking away. You see DeFelice set up and no chance for Ori.
And so Bennis is fan 6 now. And here is Service.
Well, here's the best hit and run man on your team, and let's see if Jim Riggleman breaks it out.
Fastball a little bit outside. Tomorrow's probable pitchers: Matt Morris for the Cardinals, Jeremy Gonzalez for the Cubs. Brilliant rookies for each team. That's tomorrow at 2:20. Ball too low. Now here goes DeFelice out to talk to Bennis. He's made that trip before.
Obviously, there'll be a lot of fans for the Cardinals series, but there are tickets available when Houston comes to town for 2 games following St. Louis. Tomorrow there is a 2 o'clock leadoff man. Josh Lewin will have it for you.
Strike called over the outside corner.
After a brief 2-game road trip to New York, then a real interesting homestand. Colorado for 3, Atlanta for 3, including a doubleheader on the 22nd. And plenty of seats available for those games. So if you're going to see the hit and run, you'll probably see it here with a 2-1 count.
Bennis fouled it back out of play, and the count is 2-2. The Cubs have only 3 hits. 1 by Sosa and 1 by Grace in the first, and a leadoff single here by Sandberg in the 7th. Bennis pitching carefully. Throw the first runner back. Riggleman will have a decision about Foster. He's got Dave Clark and Hanson on the bench. The runner going, and he comes back now. The ball's hitting foul territory. And Dimitri Young makes the grab. 2 gone.
Kevin Foster will be called back, and Jim Riggleman will go to his bench. That brings Turk Wendell into the game when the Cubs go out next inning. And it's going to be none other than Dave Clark, their most productive pinch hitter.
Foster worked 7 innings. Struck out 9 men. Allowed 2 runs on 4 hits. And 3 of the 4 hits were by one man, Gary Gaetti.
Dave Clark this year with 9 hits off the bench, accounting for 11 runs batted in on 2 homers. And there is his career as a pinch hitter, tied with John Vanderwall with 9 home runs. And wouldn't the 10th look good here?
7 innings, 4 hits, 2 runs, both earned, 3 walks, 9 strikeouts, 1 home run.
Gaetti is from Centralia, Illinois, by the way, veteran 39-year-old infielder. He had some great years with the Twins.
Outfield very deep, and they have to cut off a double in the gap.
Off-speed curveball.
33,805. 33805.
33,805 paid here today. 1 ball, no strikes. 2-1 in favor of St. Louis. A looper in the left field, gonna drop a base hit. Here comes a run around to third base. They're gonna bring him around. Here's the relay to the plate, and he is safe. He is safe. The game is tied. Dave Clark looped the double down the third baseline. Boy, it looked like they were going to get Sandberg, but he slid it under the throw.
Well, this is a great slide by Rhino, and Gaetti takes his time to get rid of this ball. Gant in no particular hurry as Sandberg doesn't appear he's going to go, but Radisson waves him home. Gaetti makes a good throw, but Rhino slide right around DeFelice, and he's safe at the plate. What a great slide by Sandberg. And it was the slide that got him in. The ball beat him, but Rhino fading to the outside moves his whole body away, and he's safe easily. What a great slide by Sandberg, and good shot at the plate, guys.
I should say, great work by our camera crew on that one. Here now is Granville. Strike call. A bloop double by Dave Clark. And boy, what work he's done as a pinch hitter. And this game is all tied up. Foster cannot lose. A little bit low and away. 1 ball, 1 strike. Glanville is 0 for 3. Clark, a good lead at second. Long and he missed. 1 ball, 2 strikes. I want to imagine, I don't know whether Glanville has batted against Venice before or not for today. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
No, he hasn't.
Foul tip. I just figured that, you know, he hasn't been playing much, so probably never had a chance to hit against him.
This is his first look at a mighty tough right-hander.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Game tied up. 2-2. Line drive foul. He barely got his swinger on in time to foul the pitch. Clark with the go-ahead run at second base. One ball, 2 strikes. Foul. Boy, he had a good cut that time, but he fouled it back. Straight back. One ball, 2 strikes. 2-2 tie, bottom of the 7th. Outside. Deuces are wild. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, score tied, 2-2. Smash, but foul down the third base line. Boy, he creamed that one, but foul. And DeFelice goes out to talk to Bennis again. Bennis spells backward, comes out Sineb. 2 balls, 2 strikes. A little tap. He might beat it out. Going to be close. And they get him at first base. What a play by DeFelice, the catcher. However, the Cubs tie it up. 1 run on 2 hits and 1 man left. And at the end of 7, it's 2-2 tied.
Here's today's Ameritech Playbook, your link to better communication. Ryne Sandberg carrying the tying run with one of the forgotten things in baseball, the great fadeaway slide. He fades away from DeFelice. He never tags him, and he's safe at the plate. And that makes the game 2-2, and that's your Ameritech Playbook.
That's as good a hook slide as you'll ever see. 1 ball, no strikes. Wendell pitching. Gant swings and misses.
They're 2-3 this year. ERA 4.63, on for the 38th time, and the game now squarely in his hands.
Foster cannot be the pitcher of record. He pitched beautifully. The only man that hurt him was Gary Gaetti, who had 3 of the 4 hits that the Cardinals had against Kevin Foster.
Well, Kevin has to be very pleased with this performance. Almost identical to the performance of Alan Bennis, only he fanned 3 more guys.
And Bennis is still in the game with a chance to win. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Keep that slider low and away from Gant. You should be in pretty good shape. Probably looking for his 99th strikeout of the year.
Ball low and away.
This is
Wendell, who defies all superstition by wearing the number 13 on his back.
And this is not the man you want to walk ahead of Langford, Young, and Gaetti. He's got good speed.
Ball 4, he walked him. In this kind of a ball game, and this late in the ball game, it's bad to walk the first man you face. Especially in this instance, as Steve just pointed out, with the heart of their batting order coming up, and Ray Langford, Dimitri Young, and Gary Gaetti.
Bullpen up and going again is Bob Patterson. He certainly was a very busy man the first half of the year with 44 appearances. He will most likely see his 45th today.
Langford singled and scored their first run. Time call. Langford 1 out of 3. Ron Gant, a pretty good lead at first. Pitch a little bit outside. 1 ball, no strikes.
Gant has stolen 9 bases, been caught just 3 times.
The outfield plays him deep straight away. 1 ball, no strikes. Swung and he missed. And the count is evened up 1-1. Almost 34,000 paid here today. And they're seeing quite a ball game. Wendell. A little bit outside, ball 2. He's been pitching behind. Each man his face. Game tied 2-2 in the top of the 8th.
Now let's see if Turk uses his best move at first base.
Gant, a pretty good lead. Throws. He's back.
Problem with sending Gant here, if you're the Cardinals, Langford does swing and miss quite a bit. The service will have to get off a good throw.
2 balls and a strike again. Wendell throws to Grace. Gant edging up first again. They could be sending him on this pitch. 2 balls and a strike. Again, but he's back. The Cubs will have the heart of their batting order coming up in the bottom of the 8th, leading off with McRae, Sosa, and Grace. Ah, boy, oh boy, ball 3. He walked in. Now he's at 3-1 on Langford. He can't afford to just try to get a strike over. He's got to have something on the ball. You know Langford will be swinging. Fouled it back. Now he's at 3-2.
Now you might have a chance to strike him out, throw him out. As Langford has fanned 54 times this year in 67 games.
Gant to lead, a little bigger this time. 3-2 pitch. There he goes. Here it is. Ground ball hit to Sandberg. Out at second. Double play. 4-6-3. What a wonderful play by Sandberg and Dunston. The runner was going, mind you.
They get it to second just in time with Harry Wendell set on the call. And they just barely get him. The ball hung up for an instant. Dunston gets it across, and watch it again. Rhino trying to shovel it to Dunston. He does get it there despite Gant going. And they turn the 2.
Boy, oh boy. He was out by a fraction at second. He was running in these fast, you know. And Sandberg had to take a chance going to his right. The ball was not hit hard. And he flipped it over to Dunston just in time. And Sean, with his great arm, completed the double play. Dimitri Young. 0-2 now, 2 out. Turk Wendell. Way outside. Anaheim at Oakland. The Angels lead 3-1. At the end of 4. Ooh, he barely missed the corner. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Two out, nobody on. Game tied 2-2. Struck him out. Young is called out on strikes. That's the third time in a row he's fanned. And we go into the bottom of the 8th, still tied at 2. Would look at Wendell's reaction.
In Omnimax, now showing at the Museum of Science and Industry.
Harry Carey and Steve Stone as we go in the bottom of the 8th. McRae will lead it off. He's walked twice. There's a bouncing ball. The Shields over to first, easy out.
Cub fans, now you can follow the baseball season right on your computer with WGN TV on the web. Our sports scores are updated every 3 minutes, and it's like having your own personal sports ticker. WGN TV on the web. Go to www.wgntv.com and know what happens as it happens.
There's some young Cub fans. Tony Fossas limbering up in the Cardinal bullpen. Bennis with one out. Here is Sammy Sosa. Single, grounded out and walked. Hot shot. Oh, good play by Gaetti. Throws him out. That ball was really hit hard. 2 gone.
You got to stay in front of him if you want to play third base, and Gaetti has been there a long time. This is a one-hop rocket. Sammy crushes this slider, and Gaetti right there with the little bobble, and he throws it across, and they got him.
He was playing volleyball a little earlier today on the beach, Gaetti was. All right, 2 men out, and here is Mark Grace. He drove in the first run for the Cubs. A little bit inside and low, ball 1. Sean Dunston would be next. 2-2 tie in the bottom of the 8th. This big crowd enjoying itself. Low and inside, ball 2. Ball 3 outside. And Bennis, who's gone all the way. Strike call. Over the outside corners above the knee. 3-1. He walked him, ball 4, and Dunston, who's fanned twice and bounced out, comes up. Grace has walked twice, rolled into a double play, and singled in the run.
Now the bullpen are really starting to get work on both sides. It's Mel Rojas. If the Cubs score, it will be Mel.
Dunston. Line drive, right center field, base hit. There's a runner on second on his way to third. And Dunston came through with a line single to right center, sending Grace racing to third.
The Cubs know they can run on both Gant and Langford. Langford coming back from shoulder surgery, doesn't throw the ball real well. So Mark Grace easily trots into third, and Dave Duncan goes to the mound, and it puts you in a position now where a wild pitch scores a go-ahead run, and Bennis has 8 of them.
Dave Duncan, former catcher with the Oakland A's, the pitching coach for the Cardinals, and here now is Ryan Sandberg, who scored the tying run in the 7th, leading off with a base hit.
It's T.J. Matthews, the right-hander, who's joined Tony Fossas. But it will be Bennis and Sandberg.
The outfield deep and straight away. Harry Carey back at Wrigley Field. Gary Gaetti, who's had 3 of their 4 hits, driven in both runs, with a count of 0-1. That evens it up 1-1. Renee Latchman coaching at third base for the Cardinals, and Dave McKay at first. 1 ball, 1 strike. Swung and he missed. The Cardinals have had only 4 hits. We're in the top of the 9th. Gaetti's had 3 of them. Fouled it back.
Turk took a gamble with the fastball. I would think he'd go back to his best friend, that slider, on this pitch. If he keeps it low and away, he should have no trouble.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Look out, look out, look out. Way back in Granville, way back, way back. Might be out of here. It is. With a count of 1 ball, 2 strikes, Gaetti makes it 4 out of 4. And his second home run. And he has driven in all 3 runs. Holy cow.
Well, Turk hung that slider right up in the eyes of Gary Gaetti. Service wanted it low and away. After a good slider on the second strike, watch the location of this one. You see where Service wants it. Turk hangs the slider. He gets it up and out over the plate. Gaetti with just enough juice to hit it in the basket into a 14-mile-an-hour wind. His second of the day.
Here now is John Mabry. And looking ahead to the bottom of the 9th, we have the lower end of the batting order.
26th time Gaetti has hit 2 homers in a game, and the first time this year.
There's a pitch a little bit low. Gary Gaetti, veteran third baseman out of Centralia. Foul back.
And that gets Dennis Eckersley throwing in the pen.
Well, there's joy in the Cardinal dugout. Eckersley warming up. Ground ball, Sandberg has it. Over to first, easy out. There's Mike DeFelice.
What a day for Gary Gaetti. 2 home runs, 2 singles, 3 driven in. The sum total of the offense for these Cardinals in a must-win situation, really, for both teams.
There's a pitch in there, a strike call. Mike DeFelice has walked and struck out twice. A little bit low, they appeal. Nope, he did not go around. High pop fly, foul territory, out of play into the stand. The Chrysler Plymouth game summary. Gaetti, 4 out of 4, 2 home runs, 3 RBIs. And Dave Clark, pinch hit, singled and tied up the ball game. Actually a double. 1 out, 1 in. Bouncing ball, Sandberg to his right. Nice play over the first. 2 gone. Boy, oh boy. Wendell was way ahead of Gaetti and made him look terrible on the first strike. Count of 1 ball, 2 strikes. And Gaetti hit it into the left field basket. Royce Clayton. Each team with 5 hits. But the Cardinals have had a guy named Gary Gaetti from Centralia, Illinois. And that's the difference in this ball game. Bowling outside. Two balls, no strikes. Ground ball. Ori's got it over to first in time. So 1 run, 1 hit. Going to the bottom of the ninth, the Cubs trail 3-2. Harry Carey and Steve Stone has been going to the bottom of the ninth. And Dennis Eckersley, the 42-year-old right-handed ace who was a starter with the Cubs in 1984. And now for many years has been a relief pitcher.
Eckersley going for his 19th save. His ERA up there at 4.28. He's 0-3. He's on for the 29th time. His control usually brilliant. 1 walk in 27 1/3 innings. He has 22 strikeouts, but he has yielded 4 home runs.
Boy, Gary Gaetti has been the big star of this game. 39-year-old veteran and a 42-year-old veteran pitcher out there in relief now for St. Louis. 1 ball, no strikes. Kevin Ori, nothing out of 2. Ball 2 outside. You know, Gaetti had 10 years of Minnesota, 3 with California, 3 with Kansas City. He's in his 2nd year with the Cardinals. Eckersley with 371 saves. There's a long drive. Way back. Way back. The wind kept that ball in the park. And Ori is retired. As Mabry went to the exit gate.
Well, the wind blowing in at 14 miles an hour was the only thing that stopped Kevin Ori from hitting his 4th home run and tying it up. John Mabry went back just about as far as he could go, battling the sun. He drifts with it and catches it right in front of the wall.
So that's 1 out. And here is Scott's service. 0 for 3.
Dave Hansen in the on-deck circle.
Foul ball out of play.
Stay tuned after the game for the 10th inning featuring the GMC game highlights, and Josh Lewin will have it for you.
Eckersley going for his 19th save of the year. Curveball outside. Ori hit that ball well. The wind kept it in the ballpark. And Mabry made the catch. Popped it up. Easy play for Gaetti. Now the catcher goes after DeFelice. And DeFelice makes the catch. 2 out. Well, we got a lot of ground to make up. You can't afford to lose performances like this by Kevin Foster. But the Cubs are 1 out away from losing it. Here's Hansen, Dave Hansen, coming out as the pinch hitter. Ground ball, foul. Let's pause for identification.
This is America's #1 sports station, WGN-TV, Chicago.
2 men around, nobody on. Dave Hansen, pinch hitting for Wendell, who's a pitcher of record for the Cubs. A couple of fans are walking through our shrubbery in center field. And the security man's trying to get him. 2 out, nobody on. The Cubs need something to happen to have a chance. They trailed 3-2. Each team with 5 hits. And one man for the Cardinals has got 4 out of the 5. And drove in all 3 of the runs. Gary Gaetti. Ground ball up the middle. This game is over and the Cardinals have beaten the Cubs 3-2. We'll be back in a moment. The Budweiser play of the day is Gary Gaetti's second of 2 home runs, coming in the top of the 9th to win this ball game for St. Louis 3-2. He had 4 out of the 5 hits and drove in all their runs. The producer director of Cubs baseball is Arnie Harris. Our associate producer is Mandy Cohen. Hi, Mandy. We'll be back with you tomorrow for the second game of the series between the Cubs and the Cardinals. Coverage will begin tomorrow with the leadoff man at 2 o'clock. The game itself will be at 2:30. And stay tuned now for the 10th inning show that Josh Schroon will have for you with Steve Stone. This is Harry Carey from Wrigley Field, where a big crowd saw a thrilling ball game won by St. Louis over Chicago 3-2. So long, everybody.
Chicago Cubs baseball on WGN. Brought to you by Budweiser. Brewery Fresh Budweiser, the official beer of Major League Baseball. The Stars of Chicagoland, your local Chrysler Plymouth dealer. Ameritech, your link to better communication. Pepsi, Generation Next. Montgomery Ward. Nissan, your local Nissan store encourages you to test drive the all-new 1998 Altima today. And by Southwest Airlines. With fares so low, you have the freedom to go places.